Welcome everyone. We are live and in studio. Hapa tuko na Belinda and Kolo in the house. Belinda, welcome. Say hi to salimia watu.
Habari zenu, mimi niko salama, baridi ndio nyingi maeneo ya Nyere, but tunashukuru Mungu na goosebumps za Chebukati pia somehow.
Karibu sana. Kolo, welcome.
Good evening everyone. This is Collins. Pia mimi nafurahi kuwa hapa. Furaha kwanza inatokana kwa sababu ya Arsenal. They did me proud. To the other team, poleni sana. You have a long way to go. Thank you.
Sawa sawa. Now as we to work in the live because naona bado watu bado hawajafika and hakuna haja tuanze topic na mafans bado hawajafika. So
okay.
How has your week been? Tuanze na Belinda. How has your week been?
Hey, my week has been cold and
That is very real.
Well, cold, capital letters, bold, italic, name it. But I'm on my leave. I thank God. Pressure za job nje ni election tu na baridi. Hizo ndo pressure tu nimekubali kwa maisha yangu saa hii. Lakini kwa hayo yote nashukuru Mungu.
I knew that was the last statement.
Kolo, how has your week been?
The week has been good though imekuwa exhausting in a way kwa sababu ya kazi. Mimi bado sijaenda leave, so I expect by September at least nitulie. So yeah, but the weekend also imekuwa poa and nimeshataja hapo, sitaki kutaja tena nianze kuudhi watu. So I'm good and I'm hoping at least hii wiki tunaanza kuanzia kesho itakuwa pia poa zaidi.
Nice. Mimi pia wiki imekuwa poa. Mimi kazi yangu ni control tu watu because of elections. I become happy when I see people getting gas because of something that haiwasaidii, like yeah, of course itawasaidia in some way, but sasa like huko mbele, like why are people having gas because of somebody's election? So hiyo kitu inani nice yangu yote and like I posted juzi about people being privileged, where sasa mtu the thing ya muhimu sana kwa life yake sahi ni who is the president. So mimi nafikiria story ya school fees. How are kids going back to school? Why am I being conned school fees? Because watoto probably ngoja tu if ikikosa kutangazwa watoto technically watakuwa wamesoma only 1 month this term na umelipa full school fees. So for me that is what is inanisumbua in my head. How are my kids going back to school because I'm paying? Hata sana si ati wasome. I'm paying waende wakae huko. It's like paying for paying for something and you're not getting it. Veronica Njeri is in the house. Veronica, karibu sana. Welcome. Ndio tunachangamsha room kabla watu wa join, so we are just having some banter here and there. So what I was saying is that mimi I am just very happy that people are getting pissed off because of what is happening. Like Sai Chebukati is the most loved and the most hated person in equal measure in Kenya.
Oh my
God.
God.
He holds everything kwa mkono yake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And technically it's not even kwa mkono yake. The decision has already been made by the powers that be. So if the people have the power, they have already spoken. If the people do not have the power, the people with the power have already spoken. So what are we still, like why are we anxious? What will happen will happen. If your person loses, your person loses. If your person wins, your person wins. But 2024 tutakuwa hapa sisi wote na gas tukiongea venye hii serikali ni fake. Venye and unaona venye unga ilirudishwa default setting very fast, quick fast. Ngejaribu kuexplain ya watu history ya unga ilikuwa ni kata ulikuwa unakosana na watu. No, we know what is happening. Naambia watu this is politics. Sahii tumeambiwa tujisort kwenye kutaenda. Belinda, you are saying?
Nasema na mafuta bado iko juu. Hello.
Nini iko juu?
Mafuta.
Nasema mafuta bado iko juu, unga iko chini,
Oh.
but mafuta iko juu.
Yes. So not even that. Even mahindi, you know, like just the raw products zote ziko high. So the
Yeah.
expectation of people to have unga at low price, mahindi iko juu, petroli iko juu, you know, everything else iko juu. How is unga going to be 100 bob? Like, it does not make economic sense. But hivyo ndio kulienda, wamerudisha vitu default settings, so watu wa kukula ugali itabidi watu
But you
waanze
see, Kamau,
kulamba mjele.
Raymond,
Kabla ipande
Yes.
tena.
I think at some point it's more like a bait. I take
Yes.
everything that you need from you so that you
Yes.
come begging me. And I tell you
Exactly.
now, for me to give you this, do this. And you do, then I give it to you. Nikiona bado ikwenda vizuri, I take it. It's so surprising. If you want to help someone, do it from your heart. But if it's a matter of economy, a country, why do you have to do that so that people can beg you? And then you go and say, Ati, God help us and everything. You're asking God to help you, whereas you're treating other people like you are the God. You see? So I think at the end of the day, let me not just, acha nisiingie ni kama naingilia politics, but Mungu pia si unajua anafanya kazi yake venye yeye amepanga. So whoever wins, whoever
Yes.
loses, hakuna kitu yenye sisi tutafanya. Tuombe tu God na hustles
Yeah.
zetu, tuendelee tu kupata mapato yetu.
Yeah, the only thing we just need to just have rational thought. You know, there are a lot of irrational people out here that right now, people are not even anxious about who is going to be the president. They are anxious because how will people respond to the news? That is the
Yes.
issue. How are these irrational people, these weak people, and most of them are men, majority of them are men, how are these weak men going to respond? Yeah, let's talk the truth. How are these weak men going to respond to this news? Are we going to go to work? Or are people going to start the nonsense of, you know, rioting and all that nonsense? And the only thing that will itafanyika, and people will be arrested. Yeah, some people will be arrested. Other people will be locked up. I'm seeing other ako ndani ya room. Wacha ni allow akuje tuongee kidogo. Yes, Arthur. Microphone iko off. Yes, as I was saying, we are waiting for these weak men to just we are anxious about these weak men, what they are going to do. That's the only thing, because hakuna mtu hata sasa, unless you are like personally, mimi nitasikia vibaya mtu wangu akilose. But the thing that inasumbua watu sana is these weak men, and we are of very weak men. Badala ya watu waseme okay, imeenda venye imeenda, let's go back to work, let's do this thing, let's come back after 5 years. Utasikia tumeambiwa tuende kwa streets, utasikia na watu wataenda. You know, kuambiwa uende si mbaya, but sasa wewe ukachukua mguu ukaenda, and then uvunjwe miguu, alafu baadaye utaumia ama utakuwa arrested, and then you start crying to your guy, and your guy ashapata kitu alipata na amesonga. Vero nasema everyone giving opinion on politics as a side and justification according to exactly which side they support. That is exactly right. Haijalishi, no one atatulipia bills like Veronica is saying. Hakuna mtu atatulipia bills. So na mimi sitaki ati kuperpetuate history ya ati tutapigana let's keep peace. Tutapigana let's keep peace. We are not going to fight. So the peace, there is no peace we are going to keep because we are already peaceful. And whoever wants to fight, nitasema kama Andrew Kibe, just tell us when and where and who you want to fight. Tutengeneze, you know, because if you have a problem with Kamau, don't come beating the neighbors. Say, Kamau, Mwegas, I have a problem with you, we need to fight. Then we set a date, tunakuta kama zile fight za closing ikiwa shule. Tunapatana huko, tunabondana, tunamaliza. And then the neighbor will not be affected by our personal problems. So, that's all I want to say for now. anyone with an opinion, wale wenye wako kwa room, nimeona hata ako tu hapa lakini microphone ni kama alitupa. Belinda,
think
kwani
mahali hata yuko
baridi imeingia kabisa?
hapana ni okay, I wanted to say mahali hata yuko haezi eka mic on, so labda ata type. Okay, about politics and me, I'm always saddened kwa sababu me, this is my opinion. Our
Yes.
politicians, there's one thing they don't give us: awareness. They don't invest on awareness na knowledge, anything to do with empower the Kenyans. Actually, those people you're calling them stupid, na wale ndio majority in this country. And the reason why they don't do that is so that they can take advantage of that. Kwa sababu tukiwekwa in another level where we are given enough knowledge, enough awareness, yani tunakuwa wajanja, they will not have people to manipulate. Unaona? Like for example, when I just landed in Nyeri, I got to understand some high school boys were part of the campaign teams that were around here. Watu hata hawana ID na walikuwa wengi, na wakakula, wakapelekwa nyama choma, wakapewa, na hao ndo wako na mic and everything, you see. Na kuna adults wale wamekuwa chief campaigns au wana strategize hizo vitu zote, and they are using these small people. The person is going to be told go and fight, go and hit, go and kama whatever they say, and then they go huko nje. They will never think, because wow, life yao, it's like they live like a day, yani they live carelessly. Wewe unafikiria kuhusu bills kama kuna mtu wako na watoto na hafikiri anything of the sort. Sasa hivi the brain yake hata we jump start aje, haiwezi fikiria kuhusu school fees kesho, labda watu wake wako kwa gava ama something like that. Unaona, yeye anafikiria venye ataenda kwa hiyo barabara, ako chaos, apate hiyo 3,000 yake, anajua within 1 week haiwezi pata. Unaona? So for me, the reason why nimenyamaza ni kwa sababu these politicians like to maintain a status quo in our lives so that they take advantage of that. Because if I can ask you, kama utaniambia hakuna ile campaign rally umeenda hata moja. Sasa mbona they empower people wakuwe kama wewe, where they hold rallies, nobody goes, you see. They ask to people who they'll give 200 shillings to do 1, 2, 3 things. Nobody goes, unaona? So our primitivity, it's to their advantage. Now the last thing is, unaona, kama nikiongea majorly on the health side, when Kenyans don't know their rights, it is like manna for these politicians, because if you know, in a hospital the basic needs you need hiyo hosi ikuwe na x-ray, ikuwe na accident and emergency, ikuwe hata na CT scan, vitu very cheap, you don't have to go to a private hospital to get. But when that person in that area where the referral hospital is hana hata hiyo knowledge ya those things, when this money come, wanakula tu na nyinyi hamujui. That happens in the county. I mean, there's a whole county referral hospital that doesn't even have the basic, but because those people education level yao iko chini na hawajui, yani for them it's like manna. Mtoi anaweza, kuna mtoi alivunjikanga mguu, nasikia alishinda in pain for 12 hours, ndio the following day ende apigwe tu x-ray, you see. So mimi sinanga say by the name mambo ya politics. Hata tukijaribu kufikiria ati they will not pay our bills, the people who don't think that, it's not even in their head, by the way. Asante.
Yeah, once the only thing we can do is laugh about it, because if we start crying, we will cry forever.
Yeah.
tutalia mpaka kesho. So I believe people did whatever they were supposed to do, that is vote. Where
Yeah.
whoever is counting the votes will count.
Yeah.
Whoever will be told is the whoever has won will win. Whoever will go to Supreme Court will go. And then after all these shenanigans is gone, then we come back to our life and start continue complaining for the other 5 years. And then after 5
Yeah.
years, we come back, we be lied to, and then we put so much
The,
energy and effort, and then
the,
disappointment
the, cy-
itafuata. It is a
the
cycle.
cycle begins again.
Yeah.
It's a cycle, so it will not have an end. Wanasemaga it is the same forest, different monkeys.
Mm.
So
Mm.
hiyo tuachane nayo. Now tuingie kwenye topic of the day.
Yeah. Hmm.
Husbands and fathers and their role in family planning. Now,
Ongeza
my
men.
first, these are men. So that's why I said
Ongeza
fathers
kuja
and
wao.
husbands. No, atuongelee story of these other people who want to be men but still go and buy those female products every month. We are not talking about
Hapana,
those people.
sema
Ah.
the men in the reproductive stage.
Oh, sawa. Okay.
Yes. Hiyo inakava
Inakava kila mtu ndiye anaweza peana ball. Aha.
exactly.
Tunaambiwa na Vero, one of us has a mic that has an echo. Sijui ni yangu. Let me shut mine alafu mniambie. Mine.
Ni yako.
Na saa iko na echo.
Mimi niko nakusikia vizuri, not unless ni yangu.
Yeah, mimi nilikuwa nasikia echo, but sasa nasikia ama ni yangu.
Is it better? Ama ni
No,
yako
kama unasikia
Belinda, are
vizuri,
you on
iko
speaker?
sawa, Belinda iko sawa.
Belinda, are you on speaker
Sahi
phone?
I'm on sahi no, niko na Bluetooth.
Oh, so probably that will be the nini. But our apologies, Vero, because one of our guests ako Mushadha.
Oh, yeah, oh maybe.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'll mute
one of
my
our
mic so when I speak ndo nitafungua.
Yeah, hata
Abu
mimi.
mute for a second, we still here. Yeah, it's quiet. Kolo, wewe yako iko on?
Iko on, wacha niweke on.
Yeah, iko sawa. It is Belinda's.
Oh.
Yeah, sawa. So yeah, Belinda, when you are on the floor, then washa, and then when hauko kwa floor, then I think we can do it. Yes, thanks Veronica for that. Sound is very important. Lazima tusikike. So we were talking about men, husbands, and fathers, and this, when we talk about men, we are not talking about people who identify as men. We are talking about people who are born male and then they became men through whatever means. We have the age thing, we have the cultural thing. Those ones are the ones we are talking about, not those people who identify as men but still have problems during the month, when now they also have mood swings. For those ones, we are going to get a topic specifically for you. Kwa leo, tafadhali, can you just sit back and listen to the men? I know itaniletea maneno kama kuko na those people hapa, but it is what it is. Now, my question let's start with Belinda. Do men have a role? And if they have a role, what do you think this role is? Over to you, Belinda.
Yes, they do have a role. And tukiangalia the traditional and social assumption about a man, this is a person who is supposed to be like like a final decision maker in a home. So when it comes to, definitely you're talking about family planning, when it comes to when are we having kids, how many, the intervals that we should we stop here or should we continue? I think the naming of kids, there's that traditional as concept that men are supposed to like be that we can discuss, yes, but they decide this is how it's going to be. Now that is now my explanation on how this role becomes important, kwa sababu if if in a home such a man has that role, then it's easy for them to have a good communication, a spousal communication about family planning. So he leads on that, unanipata. And then nikifikiria ya pili, I'll raise my hand.
Sawa sawa, thank you for that. Kolo, do you think men have a role? And if we do have a role, what is it?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Raymond, and I agree with Belinda. Kwa sababu for men, I think the biggest role they play in family planning, number one, is about support. And male involvement includes encouraging and supporting your partner and even your peers on issues of family planning, because this is where you want them to understand about issues of family size in regards to our economic situation in the region where they are. So I think the biggest kwangu, as I've said, is more of support, and also being decision makers, also approval on some of the best practices, their family planning that the woman is also proposing. So that is what I would say about it.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. So I do get that men do have a role to play, and they have a very specific role to play. What about this this saying that bibi akitaka mtoto atapata? What do you guys think about that? Let's start with Kolo. They're saying that bibi akitaka mtoto atapata.
Yes, ni ukweli. Akitaka mtoto, the saying, to me, this is how I can explain it. They know in terms of also the duration. You see, personally, I got to understand, don't give a very big or a huge distance between the first and the second and the third kid. Mtoya amezaliwa 1994, mwingine anazaliwa 2020, hatapatana. So huyu anajua, yeye ashajua wakifuatana hivi is going to be easier because they also need to bond. So if I go back to the statement you said, they know they need this, and men, since ulitaja week kwa wakati tulikuwa tunaongelea politics, mimi naingia tu box when my woman wants me, and anakuwa amejipanga na anajua mimi nataka mtoi nitapata. But if this is not communicated, the guy will find out, okay, my wife is pregnant or my girl is pregnant, and mimi mwenyewe sikuanga nimeipanga. So yeye aliipanga na wakaipata, but ni yenyu wote, so mna flow nayo. I don't know kama hiyo ndio any perception ya mwingine, but that is the angle I would take it with.
Sawa sawa, Arthur is saying, and I have posted, men have a role in terms of decision making on the best methods and support to their spouse. Now, Belinda, what do you think about this this saying that if a wife or if a woman wants to be pregnant or to have a child, she will have it?
That statement is true. Let me say this. Family planning, there's a way WHO may define family planning as a definition. But for me, I always, and what I have learned through hii scope yangu ya nursing, is that family planning is a way of how someone thinks and live, and it's a voluntarily way of living, venye mtu yeye anataka kufikiria basis of the knowledge ya attitude, responsible decision making of having children and the intervals venye wanataka. So inaweza kuwa ni an individual way of wanting how to live, na hii individual way inaweza kuwa influence na attitude ya mtu. Why am I saying this? Back in the days when I was in school and then we were sent to some rural area, ulikuwa unapata there are women who did not want to add more kids, and the husbands were not willing for them to have that leisure. So what they did, they used to come, choose a specific family planning method, wanaekwa, but sasa the family planning method they were being put, you have to put like a tiny bandage, eh? They don't want to put that bandage so that wasionekane. That woman will rub that spot and it will not bleed, and she will continue the normal duties. Hata ukimwambia don't lift heavy things, she will do it, as long as tu mwanaume hajajua kuna kitu imewekwa kwa mkono. Unaona? So hiyo statement ya kusema mtu kama mwanamke anataka mtoto atapata, kama hataki hatapata. Wengine ni career. Like sahi hebu sahi type to YouTube uone, there was one blogger who I saw, it was a couple, both of them did not want a child and they replaced a child to a cat. Hao hataki kwanza, hata the guy went and did vasectomy, and they are young, they were less than 30 and they are okay. Unaona? So huyo kama huyo hataki, sasa hata akienda mahali mtu anataka na yeye hataki, anaweza fanya vitu na asipate na mwanaume hatajua. And then again, women, by the way, we can decide on family planning, but for us, we are the ones who know our cycle. I know my ovulation time, and I know if I skip my ovulation like 2 times, I'll not get pregnant. We will not get pregnant, Kama. We will not. Yes.
Thank you very much. Veronica is asking a question. Is family planning purely a woman's load? Is it purely a woman's prerogative, duty, story of family planning? Kolo?
Hapana. It's not purely load yake. And I think the reason as why I'm saying this is because from Kitambo, it has always been discussed. Family planning has always been discussed from the perspective of the woman. And men were not so much involved in this because of that superiority complex ilikuwa imewekwa traditionally about men deciding what it is they want for their family. And I think up to now, there's still some traditional, not just traditional, some African countries, and I'm saying African because this is where it is so prevalent. Places where the man believes having many kids is a source of wealth. So they never have information in terms of the well-being of these kids in their future. Will they get provided with the essential things they need? So at the end of the day, the men end up doing what it is expected of them as men, just because of lack of this information in terms of how they can manage families and children. So looking at this statement, I think a lot of awareness need to be created, especially for men. They need health education programs to bring the consciousness, their consciousness, and the impact of having small family size, which is always a woman's preference, because also it has some medical implications if mama na bibi anazaa tu kila wakati. So I think if I answered this right, it is not just a woman thing. Men need to be involved, and they need to do this in terms of also understanding their socioeconomic levels. That is what I can say for now.
Sawa sawa, na I'm seeing Jolly Bridget has joined, anasema following King K pia ako hapa, wako ndani. Jolly is saying I think family planning should be both a man's and woman's responsibility, and then she adds that sadly some men are against it, forcing a woman to do it chini ya maji. Now, why did I bring the issue of do men have a role to play and what is their role? And then the other question of if the statement, if a woman wants to have a child or not, like the way Belinda said, she will, like she is the ultimate decision maker. Because there are a lot of things we say. There are a lot of things we say huku nje. Like WHO will put out a very broad definition of something very simple just to complicate it. Okay. And we say men have a role. Men should be, it is the decision of men and women. But then truly, do men really have a say? Especially tuachane na the days of the old. Sai, modern times. Do men really have a say on whether or not the woman gets pregnant or not? Like reality, tuongele mambo ya reality. Belinda?
Kama kidogo tu kuna mali sikutaka unimisquote nikisema yes, a woman if a woman wants to get pregnant ama to give birth, it's up to her. That does not mean it doesn't mean that it's the sole responsibility of a woman if we are having kids or not. No, it's ni hiyo tu question, but ideally yes, family planning, it's supposed to be both a discussion between the man and the woman. That is how it's supposed to be. Hata wale wanaendanga hizi clinics za antenatal, the women are encouraged to come with their husbands. Now the question is, why don't men go to the antenatal hizo care unit? Kwa sababu from there, that's where they are able to get their role and the importance of what? Of coming to these clinics together with who? The woman. Back to your
Question.
statement ama your question. Hebu nikumbushe kwanza kidogo.
The question was what is kwa ground vitu ziko. Yes, tunasema ideally these two people should come nini hizo vitu zote, but what is kwa ground, what is the reality?
It depends which ground we are talking about. If it is in ground ya a couple married, however they are married, na wanaelewana, the two of them, it's a discussion between me and my husband. If I do not want to get pregnant because of my career soon, nikae chini nimwambie, me I feel I need to do 1, 2, 3 for the next 3 years or 5 years, and then we think about this kid, because I think if I get them now, I'll get distracted with 1, 2, 3. Na yeye aniambia yake, then we come to an agreement. Another ground, that is A, we come to B. B is where I'm a well-established career woman, single. I don't see any point of getting married, but I think I want a kid. You can either go for an IVF. Wewe mwenyewe sasa hiyo una decide mwenyewe. Sasa hata mwenye atakuja akamin ama kama ni sorry, let me say this, a one night stand, hiyo mwanaume hana say, ni wewe tu. Unaona? Yes, so it depends in which situation. And then if it's in kuna marriage zingine people are together but hawaelewani and people have different, they don't meet in any discussion together. At the end of it all, kama mimi nasema life inafaa kugo move on. So if one of the nights is good and I really need a kid, I'll get a kid. So it depends. Yes.
Sawa. Arthur is saying family planning is shared responsibility between the couple, but most of the temporary methods available are for women. Therefore, the men mostly is just aiding in decision making and support. Then King K pia anakonka anasema men are there to support. Wacha kwanza tuende kwa Jolly before tuende kwa question ya Veronica. Yes, they do. That's why we are advised to always have a conversation on having kids before settling in relationships. Agreeing on the number of kids from the onset is key, though you can adjust mkisonga. alafu anaongeza and when to have kids so they can agree. Weekly Otieno ndani ya nyumba, karibu sana. Now, over to Veronica's question. What are the medical implications for, let's say, family planning, and we are going to use it to mean contraceptives? Like for this question, I believe it's specifically for contraceptives, for men versus women, in conjunction with my previous question. Is the role of the man mawaidha too? So Kolo, Abu tusaidie hapo, because I know wewe ni SRHR person, you are Belinda ni medical, ni akoko kwa medicine. Mimi the only medicine najua ni weed. So Kolo, can you changia kitu?
Nataka kukua a little bit controversial but at the same time realistic. There was this incident, and I think Raymond you shared kwa group fulani yenye tulikuwa, where a guy was asking the wife ati kuna msichana nilipatia mimba mahali na ananisumbua, sasa nataka unisaidie. Aliamua kumwambia ukweli, nataka unisaidie venye tunaweza deal na yeye. Amesema atanipeleka mbele kama sijampeleka majuu, sijui kuna mimba. Now the wife amechanganyikiwa kama atamsaidia juu pia wife ako na mtoto, but anajua the husband is important. Are you getting that? So looking at that question, nilikuwa nauliza about them kuamua kama atapata ball ama hapana. Hapa chale anaweza kuja tu ile like at some point alikuwa wamefanya communication, wamediscuss, lakini the guy at some point hakuwa anataka a certain number, but msichana labda anataka. At some point tu itabidi tu chale takubali juu yeye ndiye alilala na msichana na akapata mimba, ama bibi yake na akapata ball, so wataendelea tu. So support inaingia, but the guy did not make a decision. Now this goes also to issue ya medical implications. I'm not kwa medical, I think Belinda pia tasaidia, but there are some medical practitioners who always advise on the number of kids bibi yako anaweza kaget in regards to venye yuko in terms of health, or kama ni mtu ata give birth at, let's say C-section, how anaweza ka give birth mara ngapi, let's say something of that sort. So I think number one thing, the reason as to why men come in play is because they want their women to be safe health wise. Number one, if a man will not care about health ya bibi yake, hata ataka kwa na conversation yake, atataka tu azaliwe. So I think one of the implications ya health in terms of kupata watu hii sana sana ina like kusaidia msichana, na bwana akimsaidia kwa mawazo, definitely they'll agree on the number of kids they need to have. So I think generally what I would share is about that, but I think for men na wale wanaume wengi wenye wameruka mimba hapa nje ni kwa sababu wanaenda kwa hiyo one night stand ambayo Belinda ametaja, and this lady knew I want to have the baby because of my reasons. Probably labda chale anaweza kuwa kuna do alafu dem ameamua tu lazima nipate ball, reason anataka kumshikilia. I'm just saying that from my perspective, ni vitu zina happen, chale inabidi sasa anze tu kulipa vitu zinahitajika, but yeye angeulizwa, yeye hakuwa ready for that.
Sawa, thank you very much Kolo. So nataka taking it to Belinda, I want to kushikanisha hii swali ya Wycliffe na swali ya Vero. So kwa wanaume alikuwa muza there, what are the differences in terms of side effects for men and women in terms of contraceptives? Alafu so Wycliffe is driving the nini home akiuliza, okay, what are the side effects sana sana za vasectomy, alafu what are the costs? If Belinda utatusaidia. Over to you.
Okay, let me start with responding to Vero's comment. Kare, in real sense right now actually for men ni mawaidha tu wako nayo wanaweza tupatia ideally, kwa sababu our country is doing poorly in advocating for men's contraceptive. Kama by then there are pills. I think Arthur can comment on that. He's well informed on that side, yeah, the pills. So kuna pills, yes, za wanaume, and then there's vasectomy, and then there's condom. Those are the only thing men can use as family planning. So government haijasensitize in a way that they even bring these pills to these men. They even hata wao wakuwe wanakula after meals kama venye wanawake wanafanya, unaona, ama kupata the injections. And then something funny, I don't know, it's not funny, it's weird cause ile igo wanaume wako nayo currently sahi useme ati there is a seminar for men for family planning. I beg to be corrected. We will not find any. We will just find medics, maybe wale watapatiwa allowance ya hiyo training, unaona. So at the end of it all wanabaki tu role yao ni mawaidha, kuadvise na kutusaidia kumake decisions. Haya, if I speak about vasectomy, since I've mentioned it, like okay, for you to get a vasectomy sai currently in Kenya, you can get it in these privileged hospitals like like for us it's quite expensive. Inaweza anza kuanzia 150k kwenda juu. That's for the vasectomy. Side effect ya vasectomy hakuna, they just get the vas na wanaikata bas. Hakuna kitu hiyo vas inafanyanga. The only difference is haitapitisha nini the sperm, just that. But if a woman is to be done the tube ligation, akatwe tubes, a lot of things will come. Atapata early menopause, hizo hot flashes, all those things. So for women iko na more side effects than for even the pills. The only thing that doesn't give women side effects ni hizi non-hormonals, kama that's another topic. So hizo ni vitu zile hazina hormones, hizo estrogen na progesterone aizina, iko tu hivyo, inaenda tu ina like the coil and the sperm hazielewani. But sasa hizo haziwezi fanya uongeze weight, you'll not add on weight, hautapata early menopause, hautapata hizo hot flashes, moods kuchange. Yes, and all that when you Google and check. Yeah. So my comment is the reason why men will still give us advice peke yake ni kwa sababu ya poor awareness ya family planning za men. Na men, if they only reduce a little bit of their ego and see there's no problem in a man taking pills for family planning or akifanyiwa vasectomy, but there is no effect. I don't know why they get scared.
They know why they get scared.
We have something from Arthur. He's saying their pills are going trials. Last time he checked, they aren't available in Kenyan market. Now, I want to give a bit of my comment on issue of sana pills for men, or kuna time walikuwa wameleta sindano unadungo huko kwa kengele. No, that one we are not mooding. That thing hawezi wadunge anyway, afadhali hata walete ya kudunga kwa macho, but we are not boarding ya kudunga huko chini kwa scrotum, kwa testis. That one walete hata ya kudunga kwa pancreas ama kwa liver, but that one we are not boarding. Anyway, for men, this is I am not a medical practitioner, so take what I'm going to say as purely opinion. At least tuko na watu doctors in the house or people who are in the medical profession, that is Arthur and Belinda, at least wanatusaidia, because we only have one hormone which does everything. One hormone that does everything, that is testosterone. Sisi hatuna like two hormones, you know. For a woman, if you unbalance one of those hormones, then you do something, because they have the two main, that is venye Belinda ametaja, ile estrogen na progesterone, if I'm not wrong. But now hii testosterone inakuaga inakuaga kwa kila kitu bana, you know, for a man to be manly base hii venye mnasema tuna guruma we are built testosterone. So, and I think the hormone that inachangia sana for our sexual with that, we'll just have a kafukusui akenode in the house who is not even interested in all these other things you're trying to do. Even women have needs, and women pretend that men are the only ones who have this physical need until you meet that woman anakwambia tu live, my friend, you will not starve me in my house. Anyway, and then also to add, hizi pills ndio zimekuja, so we really don't know. For the women zimekuwa hapa for quite a while, that zimekuwa studied. Women know the side effects. They even wakati wanaenda kuget hizi vitu wanaambiwa, if this thing happens, please come back. That is the women who don't go over the counter, those people who go for the right way, where you go to the clinic, ufanywe whatever tests zinafanywa, advice, and then unasaidiwa, unaambiwa if this happens, if you find yourself, these are the side effects, if you see these ones, tafadhali kuja we sort, because inamaanisha something like either imekukataa or something mess something. But now for men, we are still trying these things, and let us stop pretending that men will not measure pills. The number of men wale wamekelewa visanga ya ball, men will start chewing these pills. If you are going to hit something, unakuja na e-pill, unakuja kama umebeba plan B. Unaona venye wanaume, you see the way men are wanasonga because of this blue pill. They die in the line of duty. So that will be happening when you go meet a chick, unajifichuko kwa bathroom, unameza pili yako. Alafu unaenda unafanya maneno. Hata bibi watapigwa na shock, because now hizi pregnancies, hizi za surprise zitaisha. And I'm not saying that men will immediately embrace. Even when the contraceptives for women came, it took time. So tusiseme ati hakuna separation iko. But question ni, itabidi hapa tunafanya tag team. Hii mwaka mimi ndio nameza pills, next year ni wewe unameza pills. So when I get fat this year, next year you are the one getting fat. The next year mimi na work out, then wewe una get fat the next. Tunafanya tag team. That thing will really, really help. But here sindano sisi hatutaki. We will not allow people to mess with our scrotums and our testes. We are not boarding on that one.
Kama
So, Raymond,
a question.
Yes.
Okay. Kolo and Kama, this question is, allow me to direct it to you guys and the men in the forum. Why do you think most men don't accompany their wife to the clinic, the antenatal clinics?
Naweza jibu?
Please.
Like very, very clearly and very, very shortly. Because we have no business there. Like tunaenda kuambiwa nini? Sio sisi tunameza pills, sio sisi tunadungo shindano. Like what is our business? It's like those men who go to the delivery room. For what? What is your role? Si wewe unazaa, si wewe si daktari. Like we have other things we need to be doing. So wakati pills zitakuja and serious nini za wanaume, that's when tunaenda, unaingia kwa room yako, mimi naingia kwa room ya wanaume, wewe unapewa pills, mimi napewa pills zangu, tunakutana nyumbani. Because like abu niambie kama wewe dem unaenda kuingia kwa room wanaume akiongelesha story ya pills, for why? Sio unameza, hii mwaka si yako. Mwaka yako ikifika utaenda.
Sawa Kama. Sawa, I'll answer you on that. Kolo, your response?
Mimi hata nasikiza tu hapo. It's true. I don't know, but mimi personally, Kama, whatever you said is true. But me, I think there are instances I've gone with my wife at a clinic, but hiyo ni personal choice. But realistically, there's nothing kubwa yenye nilikuwa nafanya. The only big thing ni supporting my wife tukienda huko hivyo tu.
Okay. Now, Kama,
yes,
that is the gap that we have. Why should I go to that ANC clinic? Hiyo clinic makiu kama ndio wana discussingi apart from the woman being pregnant, hiyo nini yote, hiyo face yote, at the end of it all, when wakati anamalizia, there's that last education she's given. Ataambiwa after you've delivered, there is this specific family planning that you can take. Then hapo ndio this man who thought he had nothing to do in that clinic will get the education about the family planning. Now listen, ukiwa hapo ukisikiza kuhusu family planning, because kwa hospitali hakuna place ingine utapata education ya family planning, hakuna, ni hiyo clinic tu. So ukikuwa huko ndio unaambiwa all the types of the family plannings that are there and how they will affect this woman. And then unauliza na yangu je, uambiwe yako ni hii na hii na side effect hakuna. So sasa hapo ni wewe na your spouse. Wewe mwenyewe umetuambia pia wewe that family planning is a decision that is made by two people, isn't it? Sasa si hapo ndo sasa mtakaa mu decide, huyu mrembo wangu asiumie sana na tumepata watoto enough, si mimi nifanye vasectomy bas and everything goes on well. Ama I take pills kwa sababu huyu ataanza kukua na moony face, ka face kingine kana kuanga hivi, alafu nono urembo itaisha, si hata basi mimi nichukue the pills maybe if they are there, unaona. So when you go to these clinics, you have a lot to do. Listening is one of it. Listening is work. And then two, you will be aware, you will be given awareness about this family planning. And the next thing, you will talk to Alphonse and by the way, Alphonse, enda na wife yako, ni poa usikize tu story venye kuko. So the gap ni hapo. Men don't avail themselves kwa hizi issues za family planning for them to get aware.
Not all.
Tulisema
yeah, not all. By the way, Kolo, claps for you, that is good.
Tulisema wewe kazi yako ni decision making ile ya like you discuss kwa nyumba, and then so for example, if we agree that we are going to use a condom, we don't need to go to the clinic to be told. Hiyo tumeamua kwa nyumba yetu. Atu need kuenda kwanza kuvalishwa ile penile model, kuonyeshwa this is how, sijui nini, hizi vitu zote tushafanya. Tukiamua ni condom, that is 100% ni mwanaume. So the woman is not supposed to be worrying herself about CD iko ama hakuna. Mwanaume ndia, hiyo ni role yake, yeye ajisort.
Kama madanda wawili hawawezi fundishana. There are two people who are not informed. You can't make a decision.
Yeah, there are those people who are not informed. But
not everybody knows about family planning.
Si relax kwanza, si kila mtu anajua. But then if you look at majority of young people, a lot of sexual reproductive health and rights zimefanyika. There's too much like there is a saturation of information hapa nje. The people who don't know, it's because they don't want to know. It's like now saying that there's someone who does not know story ya HIV. That is just an ignorant person who does not want to know. Because there is just too much information. Paka sasa inakuwa like it's now confusing people because there is so much information coming out. So what I'm saying is, men who want to go to clinics to give their women moral support, waende, it is okay. The men who do not see the need, because, for example, if you are supposed to go to the clinic and hii shindano ni yako, yes, nitaambiwa hizo vitu zote about you. But kama tumeamua wewe unafanya, the only thing I will say is just look at you and empathize and sympathize. Nikwambie aiwoye kumbe inakuaga hivyo, and then we go back home wewe na side effects zako. So if we agree ni vasectomy, I don't need my wife to go with me kwa clinic to go get my vasectomy. What is she going? Ataenda kushikilia scalpel? Akae nyumbani, niende nifanywe kitu nafanyiwa na daktari. Yeye kazi yake ni akae hapo anichemshie maji moto. So ni division of roles. Mimi nimpatie fare, aende. Kama ni kununua pills, nimpatie pesa, aende akanunue. Kila mtu afanye kazi yake. But I'm not saying men should not go. men should go wakae hapo venye Julie anasema for moral support to give their wife or their girlfriends moral support. Na mkumbuke sometimes wakati unapeana moral support ndio, especially those people who have gone wakati bibi anazaa, most of them when they get out of their relationship sana sana inaenda on the rocks sana inakuwaga tu in trouble, because now after that the man does not even want, not hataki kuumiza bibi yake. Aliona venye bibi yake alikuwa anasafa akizaa, alitukana umbwa mingi sana wakati bibi alikuwa anazaa, akiambiwa wewe ng'ombe, wewe shetani, wewe ndio umefanya hii uchungu yote nini. Mwanaume anakuwa traumatized. So wakati umerudi kwa nyumba, if the wife now says baba nani, si ukuje ukule chakula, baba anaogopa kukula because aliona results. So sometimes for the sake of maendeleo, wacha tu mwanaume akae kwa nyumba ndio, but that is my opinion. So let me see, Mwangilusi anasema for better or for worse should be in all areas. Tuletewe pills. Nimesema tu shindano iletwe ya kudungwa kwa macho, watoe shindano ya huko kwa testis, walete nini. Belinda unapata support hapa from Jolie. Wycliffe anasema nowadays you also get tested for HIV as a father when you go with your wife. I find joy in doing it, by the way. It's also a show of love. Huyo ako kwa mapenzi, which is okay. Watu wapendane, kupendana ni Mungu alisema tupendane. Julia anasema there is too much information but important to get it from medics because they have the accurate info. It's true. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. Sawa? But at the end of the day, bibi anaweza enda yake alafu mimi niende yangu, like aingie aambiwe alafu mimi niingie niambiwe, because sometimes when you sit across each other kuna tu kunapewagwa saa zingine. Umeona, umesikia unasikia venye hii kitu itanifanya, alafu umekaa tu hapo weka zako nikisema tu alafu niulize kwa nini hukusema hata kitu, kwa nini hukujitolea tufanye vasectomy? So that's what I can say. Now I want us to move, Junaona. 3 minutes to go, but tutaongeza a bit of time. Is baby termination, I don't want to say that one. Is baby termination a form of birth control?
No.
So Belinda has just said no na kazima. Like hiyo, Kolo, over to you.
Hapana.
What would you say to those people? And this is something which, if you've been on YouTube for quite a while, umesikia when America, when the Supreme Court of America ili overturned Roe versus Wade. A lot of people were saying that, especially women and some weak men, were saying that it is a right. Women have a right to decide whether to keep or to terminate pregnancy. They have a right whether to keep or terminate a pregnancy. What do you guys think about that?
Well, Mama Dix.
Huh?
Hello?
Kolo, you're saying?
Oh, I was saying, in terms of health, constitutionally, in terms of health ya mwanamke, kama health yake iko at stake in wakati anabeba ball, it is allowed. That is in terms of health. And also kuna hiyo section nasema pia kama is it incapacitated or anything, pia kunaweza kuwa na hiyo decision ya this thing cannot be carried. But I wouldn't say it's a form of a birth control. So I just think in terms of health, it's okay, even constitutionally may allow. So that would be my end of bargain. You side, I'm okay with it.
So Belinda, do you think a woman has a right to keep or terminate a pregnancy. And I'm not talking about a medical doctor. I'm just saying the person who is pregnant.
See, I don't know how to argue that statement, but if this woman is pregnant, the only choice you have is to carry along, not unless sasa the medical aspect where umeniambia nisiongelele. I don't think she has any other alternative.
So now I want to pose the final question, and then to wrap up. And this is a statement. This is before Roe v. Wade was overturned, and we are talking purely about the American system, the way they had made policies around baby termination, because huko ilikuwa it is a legal thing in those states which had it, and the rationale was that the woman is the only one with the right to decide whether to terminate a pregnancy or not, that she is not required to consult the man who made her pregnant if she wants to terminate the pregnancy. Would that thing fly? Would that thing fly in Kenya, where the woman, like, it does not matter whether you are married or not, if you got pregnant and you decided, I don't want this, you can just wake up, you don't tell your hubby, you just go into those clinics and process inaanza ya hiyo stuff. What do you guys think about that? Because that's where things were or that's I have attended a few forums where they have been discussing these issues, and many of the advocates of this wanted us to go that way. So what do you guys think? Because the conversation is still on the table.
So it's an ongoing process, but it's a discussion. What?
Yeah, it is something which is still on the table. It is something which has a lot. In fact, there's a lot of money from UN women, and that thing ya population itagwa UNDP ama. There is that thing, and there are coalitions which are in the process of being formed to advocate for determination, and the rationale is that the woman is the one to decide. The man has no say.
Now, hata swali nitauliza tu in the same context yenye unaongelea, when you guys were having sex, when the man and the woman agreed, because I know for you guys to sleep together mulikuwa na communication, whether direct or indirect, and then the lady conceived. Why then should it be that yeye akifeel hataki kuiweka atoe? I think the same way you guys communicated, or we communicated when we were having sex and decided to have a kid, should be the same communication that should be brought on the table when you feel that this should be terminated. Because at the end of the day, pia mimi nataka kujua ni kwa nini you want to terminate this, kwa sababu pia ni blessing yangu, mimi nataka nikuwe na mtoto, then unaenda na unaitoa, this will bring, italeta GBV, kwa sababu when you and such discussions, when they are not tabled, and then one person takes the power or the initiative to make a decision on behalf of the other, definitely these people who are discussing this don't discuss about the effects, the aftermath ya what she did. Huyu mwanaume ataanza kuleta shida, italeta shida kwa familia. So for that sake of harmony and two people, mature people who slept together because they needed a kid, ndio wakae pamoja, the communication should be continuing. Wanasemanga kwa story na sex, the communication should be before, during, after. Hata wakati amepata ball tena, sasa muendelee, it should be continuous. Why should it break in the middle there na mtu mwingine take decision on his own hand? So I think the same way communication was done before, it should be done during, na hiyo wakati pia umepata mtoi, you should talk and discuss about the pregnancy. If unataka abortion, you guys should discuss why, the reasons why this should be done, ndio mpate solution.
Okay, and I see Veronica is saying most women will take decisions depending on how men react to the news and previous reactions or talk that make them feel like the man won't want it. Okay, and for this, I always ask this question: when the woman was in the clinic or when she did that test and she found out she was pregnant, was she shocked? Most of the women get shocked by the news. In fact, the first thing period yako ikipotea when you are looking at for it na tochi mchana is because umepanic. Sawa? Most women will panic. Especially those ones who like they are not ready. There are those who are working towards it, then they'll be excited. Kuna ile tu yenye period zako tu zimeamua kupotelea. So you may panic. Then you go, you test. And then you realize you are pregnant. You get shocked. The first thing is shock and disbelief. And then slowly you process that and then you accept. Now, if a man, how do you now expect men to just, when you tell them I'm pregnant, to just like start celebrating? We also need that time to go through shock and then process it.
Yeah.
You know, most women don't give us that time ya process. You know, for women, it takes even up to a month before they even tell their guy, you know what, I am pregnant. So if it took you a month to process that information, you expect the man to just umpatie information and hapo na hapo. You also need to give the man, not even just men, even husbands. Some of them need time to process your information. So now umeambia Hazi amereact a certain sort of way. Now you start panicking, sijui nini. There are men who are processing. There are those men who will just tell you, I don't want, period. Then there are those men who just be quiet and process. Stop having this pressure. Yeah, Ali akufurahi. It's like, give him time to process this information. If you are the one who is pregnant and you found out and you took time, why can't you give the other person time ya process? And also, why are women getting pregnant for men who has already told them they don't want kids? You know, it's also kind of like, also we need to ask these questions. If your man has immediately told you Mr. Kimtoi, then you need to ask, okay, now that tutaki mtoto, how are we going to make sure that hatupati mtoto? So that means tuweke condom mpangoni. Okay, we need to do this. So anytime you allow the man to get in without the CD, already unajiput at risk of being left kwa hiyo dilemma. So if the man does not agree for you to put condom mpangoni, then you don't need to be engaging with that person. That is a person who will jump ball, yani ataruka ball, for those people who do not understand English. Ataruka hiyo ball. But also remember, if you had that discussion mapema, that's why it's important for people to discuss stories za watoi. So now Jolie ana agree na Vero, someone from a strict background, also akona experience ata opt kuterminate. Like I said, you story ya FP. Yeah, Melinda, you're saying something?
My reaction to your question is going to disappear.
Oh. Sema.
Okay, besides what Koloa said, I agree with him about the termination bit, to take guys back kidogo. Hii story, I don't want to side with them, but there are circumstances that can make that woman think of doing that. E.g., for example, our country. So how many times have you heard in the television that some father somewhere raped the daughter? And then you find yourself, you're pregnant with your father's child. Hi, minus that. Unasikia I heard there was another lady who was kidnapped in an Uber and raped by 3 guys. About pregnancy, I don't know, but I can imagine now if she was pregnant. You see, so besides what Kolo amesema, when you look at these other side, rape at times, ama you just got ama
Incest.
current situation between, hata kuna incest where your cousin, ama hata si lazima cousin yako akurape, maybe cousin and cousin walipatana, ama minus that, you were you thought it was a stable relationship, maybe you were engaged, promised you're going to get married or something, and then you get pregnant, jamaa ameenda, unaona. So these are kids that are bringing sores, reminding sores to you, unaona. But I'm not saying that is a reason to terminate. These are some of the reasons, hard reasons, that can make a woman think of that. So what I can say is, my take is, in such situation, it is not right to terminate, but in such situation, it's good to remind this person. Unaweza terminate, then the side effect, what Kolo was saying, this is what can happen. You might not get kids anymore. I mean, you might get some uterine issues. Someone might mess up with your uterus while they are trying to terminate, because the process is not, it is never friendly. But then for those who have done it and they've still had kids, ni Mungu, by the way, because it's one of the nasty procedures that are done. So if they are reminded of that, I think a lady would want to choose, even in the most difficult time of deciding whether to
Unapotea.
terminate or not. Oh,
Anaenda akiingia kwa shimo.
imesikika.
No,
Niko ocha.
sawa. So now, Belinda, I believe
Yes.
if we can agree that hizi special circumstances, and especially story ya assault, okay,
Yeah.
and in terms of kama incest, that those ones tunaweza sema okay, for those ones we see why this procedure makes sense. But then if you look at the numbers,
But still.
that's hizo termination because of those reasons, Kenya, we don't have very good data. I believe good data inakwaga US apologies, and the Western countries. Hakuna wale wenye imepita 5%. In fact, most of the baby terminations are incest and assault. Most of them zinachezea 1% and below. So that means 99%, tuseme 95 to 99% of baby terminations is not because of somebody forced you into it, and not because a family member gave it to you. It's because somebody just decided to be an idiot, went out, and these two people decided to be idiots, went out, messed up, and then instead of taking responsibility for their mess up, they decided, you know what, we just need to terminate this thing, and then we do over. And then they say, like the US, 40% of women have procured baby termination more than one time. So it is not like the first time unaenda. It is something that umeenda. In fact, kuna some conference I was seeing about a woman, talking like it is just something normal that she did. That, you know what, my first baby termination was when I was 17, and then the next baby termination was when I was 25. Currently, I am I have terminated like 10. You are like 10. The first time it may be, it was a mistake, nini. The second time is like, okay, there is a problem. Now, just moving on, the last one. Now, if, for example, we agree that, okay, women have the right. This is a hypothetical. We just say, okay, women now have the right to do what they want to do because it is their body, their choice. And they don't need to consult the man for anything. Can a man also have the right to not be financially responsible for a pregnancy without consulting the woman? So remember, if women have this right that they can terminate or keep without consulting the man, does the man also have the right to decide whether they want to be part of this child's life or not without consulting the woman? Kolo, go first.
Number one, realistically speaking, the first thing the woman will do is to go to the court, child support. So even if the man decides sitaki I will not take care of this kid kwa sababu in the offset I said mimi sitaki, or I've realized imepatikana and we had agreed here if I could happen. So the woman will go to the courts, and once the law imeingilia kwa hii story, every other thing, almost 70% ya all these cases inaendanga in favor of the woman. So the man say hata kama alikuwa ataki kufanya, itabidi afanye juu ni mtoto wake. This is going to be linked to the fact that he's the biological father to this girl, to this kid. So itabidi afanye hivyo kwa sababu the law imesema wewe ndio baba ya mtoto na itabidi tu ifanyike hivyo. But these guys had agreed in the offset that this should not happen. So to my side, realistically, the man can decide mimi sitaki, but he will be termed. Society pita mterm, ameruka responsibility yake. Now the court, it'll lie on the other side, not the man. But at least nowadays we get to find the judges who listen to both sides, and then they come and think and say, if this is what happened, then this is the best way to go. So I would say the man can decide, but at the end of the day, he'll be forced by external forces to take care of the kid plus the woman.
So thank you very much, Belinda. What is your take?
A sane man, with or without principles put on him or something, a sane man would not let his offspring isafe. As in, wewe ukijua tu umesaya mahali na hiyo DNA yako inasafa somewhere, I don't think a sane man would wait to be informed on being responsible on your own offspring, unaona. So that's what I can say. Then the opposite of that's not a sane person. So kama you don't have a right of saying hata mimi basi nisikuwe responsible kwa sababu mwanamke hajaniambia
ati
anataka ama ataki. No, you can't.
Mbona right? What is a right?
It's not humanly safe.
Mtu mmoja na si kwa mwingine.
Hii hata tumeweka huyu mwanamke, wewe ukikaa chini na brain yako ukwe tu na meeting, wewe na Raymond kama Mwera, ukae tu chini ufikirie that huyu mimi sijitumi kwake, ajipange hivyo venye alikuja, sijui kama hivyo ndo atakaa. No, it's not, that's insane. So minus hata kufikiria na mambo ya for a man, you just have to. That's what I can say.
Yeah,
can I say something kidogo tu Kamau?
Yes.
Just something small. You are talking about the right to decide. In terms of rights ni universal. Kama ina apply kwangu, ita apply kwa huyu mwingine. Regardless of what it is that is happening, provided nimeileta na nasema mimi this is my right. But now when it comes to the individualism ya my virtues na mimi kukua caring and all these things, I would also ask the same question. Why were you not caring enough at that point yenye mimi nilikuwa nafanya hivi nikikwambia sitaki, and still you went ahead? Why should it lie on one side? So if it's about rights zinaenda kwa both sides, but kama ni affection na nini nyingine, hii wacha tukae chini tuongee. Mimi nitalea mtoto wangu, but mbona this and this happened and we had agreed.
But sasa sunaona Kolo, the problem comes is during that discussion. If everybody went with their own opinion ama with their own decision, then there was no mature discussion there. It wasn't a complete discussion. So mwezi sema muli discuss. So for
Belinda,
a discussion to have a conclusion, someone has to go down. If everybody is up, someone has to go down, and you guys, both of you, weigh and come to an understanding. That is what we are discussing here. Family
It's
planning
compromise.
discussion
It's
between two.
compromise.
Yes, one has to compromise.
I prefaced
See one.
my Goja, I prefaced my question like this. If a woman has the right to terminate pregnancy without consulting the man, does the man have the same right to terminate his financial responsibilities and obligations to a child without consulting the woman? That was how I prefaced it. If women have this right, do women have the opposite also right to just say, no, not interested, jisot?
But kama hii discussion, I think mali tulikuwa tumefikia ni the woman does not have the right to terminate. Hata gava yetu imekataa.
Nilieka Belinda, I started and saying this is a
najua venye umeiweka, najua venye
yes, and that is the question
umeiweka.
you are supposed to be answering. And I say, if these things succeed and
Yes.
ikue, women have this right, because I said iko kwa pipeline. There are discussions happening chini ya maji. There are even coalitions being formed to push these things in terms of policy, in terms of advocacy na kila kitu. If it goes their way and they say women have a right to terminate their pregnancy without consulting the man, they have the right to keep or terminate. Does the man also equally have the right to either decide to be part of the child's life or not without consulting the woman?
Bado mimi tu nita contradict equation yako kwa sababu currently in Kenya mimi ninge request when they bring that research here and they prove it and it's put on the table, please put that session and then I'll answer. But for now, a woman has no right to terminate and a man has no right to refuse responsibility. That those who have refused, those are insane. Hao ni watu wako off mental case kabisa. Hata mwanamke mwenye ana terminate sahi, it's not a sound mind. They might seem sound, but they're insane. It's not right. That's my opinion.
And that's why we say, and this one will be controversial, that men are supposed to be in charge of the world, because we think about issues before they become hot button issues. Because now if we are waiting until this law now imewekwa and now that's when we are running around, let's have this discussion, it does not make sense. We need to start having these discussions mapema and say, okay, if you are pushing for women, because this thing is happening, I've said it is happening. I said there is a fund, there are coalitions, there is money which is coming. And it is, I think the project is in Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. I even know the areas where, the countries. If this is a discussion that is happening, why can't we also have this discussion and say, okay, you women, you want this right? Also, men, we also want this right. This right has to go hand in hand with this right for men. Because, like in America at that time, before this was overturned by the Supreme Court, the woman will decide whether to terminate or whether to keep. If she terminates, the man has no right to talk. If she decides to keep, the man has to pay child support. So the man does not have a say either way, whether a woman keeps or a woman terminates. And if the woman decides to keep and the man does not want the kid, the man still has to take care of the kid. And that's what I think we should start having discussions about, because they look at it as this is a women's issue. It is not. It is a family, it is a societal issue. Because if somebody terminates my child, it affects me also. If somebody decides to force me into fatherhood without consulting me, then it also affects me. At the end of the day, we have to be selfish to a point, because we can't just be saying, okay, this thing is happening to women. How is it also affecting men? I agree that even men who tell their wives to go terminate or girlfriends to go terminate pregnancy, it also affects them. You think they don't know? I know friends of mine who, when we are talking, they will say, hey, muna jomi firstborn wangu sahi, angekuwa hai, angekuwa amemaliza high school. Hebu namza, ai, firstborn wako si firstborn wako ndio huyu. He's like, nilikuwaga na dem like 5-10 years ago. Imagine na alitoa boli yangu. Nilimpatia doa akatoa boli. It follows. And also Veronica is saying, and also Jolie, that also married people, they ukiangalia hizi figures za baby termination utakuwa shocked. It is not the majority of the people terminating pregnancy sio single women. It is married women. Because either a woman had a child with sponsor, ama na mtu wa makara, or na bwana yake, and anaangalia bwana yake anaona hii ni ng'ombe, this is a cow, amelemeona these two kids, me I'm not adding another. Yes, Belinda, you are saying
one of the benefits of family planning need to prevent unintended pregnancies.
Yes.
These are the things that lead to termination.
Yes.
So if by the way unasema people are aware about family planning, I think wale wako in the health system, wale wako around, they can drop down a comment. Wewe ni kwa sababu uko exposed with some initiatives ama something. Layman uko nje kama are not aware, they just know family planning, matembe za uzazi, they don't even know them. By the way, let me tell you, it's just that you're exposed, but uko nje on the ground things are different. Let me tell you, things are completely different. So
Yes.
if these people now when these initiatives za ku sell out family plannings are put in place, when people are availing themselves in them, they get awareness, and when they get aware, these benefits are what come, and we will not be discussing this thing about termination. They will prevent these unwanted pregnancies and the consequences. And then if we have people who have been in such situation, ama mtu kama wewe, for example, you're in that initiative, and then you bring such YouTube, whatever you saw about this person who has terminated like 10, alafu ulete mwingine mwenye aliterminate, something went bad. At least that's how people learn, unaona. So back to my point is, if we sensitize people to be able to follow how family planning it's supposed to be, this reproductive, male and female in the reproductive system, sit down, discuss together and agree together, then we will not be talking about termination. So preventing unintended pregnancy will be one of the best things that can happen out of family planning.
I agree. I totally 100% agree. But then I want to add something like a caveat. A lot of people, like right now, we've just from an election. How many people know that you are not supposed to fight because your person has not been voted in? A lot of people. The majority know. But still, this idiotic majority will still go and fight. Somebody alisema hivi, and I kind of agree with them. People have information at the intellectual level. They know. How many healthcare professionals, people who are in the HIV field, how many of them get infected by sex? Not ati alijidunga na whatever. How many? If you look at the numbers, you will see it's a significant number of people who teach people about these things. And then to me a condom. No. Then they go and not use it because they know this information intellectually. It is just knowledge. Hawajai process ikakuwa part of them. Inasemaga haijakuwa an emotion, hawana emotional connection to this information, because human beings remember things when there is something emotional about it. That's why we always remember painful experiences, because we have some emotional connection to it. So I know there's a lot of work which needs to be done in terms of giving information and the right information also. But also you see, and I know Jolie, I know Veronica, I know Kolo, I even know the guys wenye wako hapa who know people who have all this information but still wanafanya hizi shenanigans. Why? It is because, for example, if you have the option of terminating, then they are like, si hata ikiingia nitatoa tu. So, and then if you say you have no option to terminate, then they come and say, what about this and this? It is my right, it is my body, it is my choice. Hizo vitu zote. Eh? It is Veronica anakuwa sarcastic hapa. Funny how it's a family issue when it affects men. Of course it becomes a family issue because now when it is men and women, then it is a family issue. We have to mainstream. When we mainstream, then that means, sahi gender, when you say gender, people think women. In fact, gender is synonymous with women. If you just say gender equality, if you say gender equality, that just means women's rights. Like that is the correct position. I'm in this field, I know. And if you come and say it also means men, no. You men, you are the cause of the problems. You need, and then we are like, if you're the source of the problem, why don't we be given a seat on the table? Tukae pia si tuonge. So men consider family planning to avoid unplanned pregnancies and being in situation of being deadbeats, or women considering termination. So we need to sit down and agree. And then also, like we said, men also need to take up if umetosheka and you no longer want, and you say I am good, then what are the options for the man? What are the options for the woman? What can we do collectively? That is the ideal situation. I do agree, but then you also need to take this conversation further, where we look at the what ifs. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Then if you have the what ifs, then so for example, you say we are going to have four, then the woman, number one, why do who are not married allowing men to pour into them? And why are men who are not married pouring into women? Because that's the source of everything. Like Belinda said, hapo ndio mali shida iko. If you two are married, then that's child kwa marriage situation. If you are now having too many kids, even you'll be called by the families like, sasa umeamua kuzaa kila mtu, wachia pia wengine wazae. Like if ushafika baby number 7, no, we need to have a meeting. You are too fertile. We need to have a meeting. So mwisho, let me see. Then I'll give you guys mumalize. You can decide as an individual to not support financially juu utapelekwa kotini. You see, hii si decision. So you can't tell me you can decide, but we'll still take you to court. Then why are you telling me to decide? Just tell me to pay up. Then yes, it is happening. It's true. So now, Kolo.
Yes.
Last words.
Okay, thank you so much. That has been a very good discussion. Mimi ndasema as a man and as a husband and as a father, men need to understand family planning. Emphasis should be placed kwa dynamics za childbearing sana sana, and also the aspiration that they have for the children that they want to bring in this world. But they really need to have reference to the economic conditions na zile demands ziko kwa hii modern society. I want men to link the hardships zenye watago through in the process of bringing up children, iweze kuwapatia the number of kids they want to bring in this world, so that they can be able to take care of these kids. I'm not saying ati sasa usizae watoto wengi juu ni kunoma, but think in that line. The hardships that you will go through wakati juu hardships ziko kubring out watoi, it's not going to be an easy way. But I think men need to be involved in the issues of family planning, and from there we'll not be saying it's a women thing. And men should stop at nothing to give their women the power of choice when it comes to issues of family planning. Wacha waseme hii ina react na mwili yangu juu niliambiwa na daktari. Useme hata kama ina react wewe fanya, no. Let them also see, because we care about them. Hatuwezi tukawacha wasafe peke yao, but at the end of the day let it be consensual. Wacha ilikuwe ni kitu tumeagree sisi wote. So that is what I would say, and adding one role to the men. Role tu moja kama uliitaja pale mbele. Men's role in this thing is to reduce unwanted pregnancy. That is our role. Thank you.
Sawa, Belinda, over to you, your closing comments.
My closing comment, speaking as Belinda and Belinda the health worker, at least nimepata place ya kuadvocate kidogo, is family planning is a decision. It's a topic that has to be decided by two individuals in whatever situation they are in that has brought them together. They decide on bringing forth these children and how, na ile formula watakuja pia. Why? Because one, as I said before, they prevent those unwanted pregnancies. Two, ina lighten burden. Na hii ekonomi ya Kenya, burden na responsibility hii tunashinda tukipiganiana hapa. Unaona? Wewe kama utaki kupelekwa kotini, wewe kama hauna pesa enough ya ku take care is all those offspring umekuwa ukiweka huko nje, this is the best way that you can, this is something that you can take home and just lighten up your burden and responsibilities. Another one is mkika wawili nyi mdecide pia. It also helps because at the end of it all, these kids are going to get the necessary basic needs. Kwa sababu I think when men start running from responsibility, ni kwa sababu wanafeel hizi vitu zinawalemea, especially the basic need. Kama alianza na story ya school fees na hii election, yeah? Imagine, na nasikia siku hizi watu wanalipa school fees kama rent every month, and you have like 4 na kuna mwingine watano anakupeleka kotini, you see. So you avoid such stuff, and then for us, you help us as as health workers to improve on family planning services and improving our programs, kwa sababu now we will understand, like now I've understood kiasi why men don't attend these clinics, because if men did attend these clinics, they'll be able to know their role, their key roles. By the psychological support, men ni kwa sababu men don't embrace it. It's a big deal when you just have someone seated there, hata akiona ukidungwa hiyo depo aone tu na kwambia pole, venye kama ulikuwa unasema pole, utapona, haya twende home, side effect kukutie mbele. You being there, walking with her through that, getting that knowledge together. At times yeye atakwambia si kila wakati unapatiwa hiyo health education you keep everything in mind, because your wife might bleed much na maybe hiyo kitu ilimu escape, ama the stress imefanya recap on what she was taught. Then you'll be like, but si nilisikia ule nasa akisema EFP unaweza kuwa utableed sana, and if you bleed sana you change to this other one, see we go and see, ama you can go and see, at least umemwadvise, unaona. So that's my take home. Men have a key role. It might look minor in this discussion as we talk, but it's quite big. It's quite big for both of us and for women mostly. Yes.
Sawa, thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Thank you to all the guests, and thank you to everyone who has watched and everyone who has participated kupeana their thoughts kwa chats. I appreciate all of you. Now, I think as health workers, need to find ways of incentivizing men to visit. That's the only thing I can say. If you have to make men want to, because if you don't make men want to, men will not. The same way when we are doing other programs, hata kama ni za watoto ama za wamama ama za people with disability, is we find an incentive. How will they benefit apart from the information? And I'm not saying stories are pesa or anything, but what is this thing that men are interested in that you can incentivize them to come? For example, if you just say, you know what, tuko na raffle ya DSTV for the men who will be accompanying their wives to come. No, I'm just
That
saying,
is touchy.
tuko na raffle ya DSTV. You will be sending men away because they will
Imagine
want to
kama
come,
there's
and then you say
motivation. There's
ni
motivation.
incentive.
Kidogo tu nikuambie, unaona
Yes.
when you go to the clinic with your spouse or with your lady, imagine the fact that unajua wanajuanga hiyo NC inakwanga imejaa wanawake wengi. Kuna wale hawana mimba, kuna wale wako na mimba. It's not a friendly environment for men. But once they realize there's a couple that is around, hao ndo wanapatiwa first priority so that waache mwanaume aende. If there are hospitals that are doing opposite that's wrong. But ukienda na wife, at least hiyo ni motivation. Hautaketi kwa hizo bench kama utaingia na yeye maliziwe mwende. And then again, hiyo pia umesaidia wife kuruka line.
Now you see, Belinda, that's the problem when women have when you're having discussion, especially with women. When we tell you this is what we want for us to do what you want us to do, you tell us no, you don't want that, you want this. Nimesema. That's why you had Kolo laughing. If you just say tuko na raffle ya DSTV, you will win DSTV mkikuja. If you accompany your wife and then mnaiweka hiyo stuff like for 3 months, alafu mnasema the more times you come, unaona vile mnaambiwa the more times you play every time you play jina yako inaingia kwa raffle, the more times you come with your woman in terms of family planning and contraceptives, the more your name inaingia kwa raffle. I am telling you, it doesn't have to be DSTV, just something that men like, men want. You can even just be like a TV or a woofer or a sound system. Okay? Men will be flocking there, mutajaribu kuwafukuza mshindwe. So it's all about getting the right incentive, because what you want is men to come there. Right? What you want is men to come there. Not, and then you want them to participate. So how do you incentivize them to come? For example, when we have school programs, we always ask, what is going to make kids come into our program? So we think about things like giving them books, simple things like pencils and pens, simple things like, what, we are going to have a fun day, something that is not connected, something that children like to do. So that you will be chasing school children from your program because all of them want to come. So get incentivize us. I know that it is good for us to come. That is information, that is intellectual. But now, how is it benefiting me apart from history? Yeah, my wife will be happy. I will have a happy family. That is all well and good. What is the incentive? What is this thing? Mwanaume atatafuta hata leave ama achukue sick leave, hiyo siku anafaa kupeleka bibi story ya family planning. Why? Because there is something in for him somewhere. I know these things might look weird, ama mseme it is unethical, na hizi vitu zote. It is okay. Wanaume wamesema, I have said what men want or what men might prefer, and then you can have more men coming, and then you have like what, a best practice. So that's the last thing I'm saying. Ninaona tuko 1 hour 43 minutes down the line, na nilikuwa naambia watu kwa heri. Kolo amesema if the intercourse was not consensual, then she can decide to terminate due to stigma na trauma. That is allowed. Belinda, you want to say something alafu tufunge?
Ndio nilikuwa nishasema. Thanks.
Sawa sawa. So thank you very much to everyone. Thank you all of us. Tuonane next Sunday. And guys, if you can weka kwa chat the kind of topics you want us to discuss and the kind of people you want to come on. If unataka kukuja on to participate, we can work on a process where we'll have the two guests and then we can always give a chance to one of the people kwa chat akisema anataka kuingia, then anakuja ana verbalize ama anapeana comments live on air, alafu tunarudi tunaendelea na discussion. Thank you very much to everyone and have a good night and a good week ahead. Kwaherini sana.
Good
Asanteni.
night. Thank you.